Let's go. Never in doubt. Let's go. Never in doubt. Who cares if we blow all our timeouts on defense? Who cares if we almost lost the game when we had a gazillion turnovers? Who freaking cares? A W is a W is a W. Or is it a W? That's why you guys are here. Honest LSU coverage. We got the win. We avoided our first losing season in a gazillion years. So give me a Go Tigers in the comments, because I'm not going to lie. This is our final time together after a game, okay? Now, my diehards are at the live streams every Tuesday nights at 7 Central. Those are my diehards. Now, some of you just come to the live streams after the games, which is fine. But I hope you guys continue to support the channel. We just hit 2,000 subscribers. My goal is to have at least 10,000 before the start of next season. So thank you for all the support. This was a rough year for all of us compared to what we experienced last year. But as you guys see, we might have our Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase for next season. Now, let's not get too far ahead, but the big story here is not Boutte Pelini, because a lot of you come here and some of you have called me negative, and I get that. I'm honest. My biggest takeaway is Max Johnson and Kayshon Boutte are for real. And as Andrew points out, he played grown man football today. And I'm already being called someone that was hating on Max Johnson. When I was wrong from the get-go, I thought for sure Max Johnson was going to start initially over TJ Finley. Turned out TJ was better at that time. But if anyone took anything as a perceived hatred of Max Johnson, I'm sorry. I take it back. All I said in the past was Max Johnson put up his stats in mop-up duty. But he's 2-0, and he's been exemplary in both of his starts. So that's where I wanted to start. Now, obviously, a lot of you are pointing out the defense and Boutte Pelini. And Black Goatee is our first super chatter of the live stream. Thanks to Jonathan and Tony for hooking me up during our actual live chat during the game. But the truth remains the same. We're going to get into next year here in just a moment. But for right now, let's take the game for what it's worth. The guys went out there in a game that doesn't mean anything and played their hearts out, played their guts out. Even though some of our players look a little out of shape, even though some of our players are a little banged up, John Emery and Derek Stingley Jr. dressed out, didn't play. The guys that wanted to be there stuck it out for us. So before we get into criticizing any one player, I got to give my guys in the purple and gold a lot of credit for fighting for our beloved Tigers. With that said, as we welcome in Kane and Kelsey and Carvis and Cliff and Calvin and LSU Tigers and Jake, thank you for your super sticker. Okay? But the bottom line is we need to get with the times. We need to get with the times. The old LSU football games were not 53-48 affairs unless they went into overtime. The biggest issue here, there's two of them. Can LSU find the right defensive coordinator? Because look, As much as I love aggressiveness, as much as I love pass rush, as much as I love turnover football, the good and the bad of a Boutte Pelini defense was shown today. Yes, LSU got a pick six. Yes, we won the turnover battle. But you notice we win the turnover battle by 5 turnovers. 5 turnovers, and we barely won the game. The bottom line is the Boutte Pelini defense must go. It must go. It must go. Whether Boutte Pelini goes with it is a question that is wait to be seen. And Max, a $50 super chat. Are you kidding me? Let's go. So we go straight to Max, who wants to talk Max Johnson. Max Johnson is the truth, and I told you from the beginning, Kayshon was the best wide receiver on the team besides Marshall, which is what Max said. But to think this is what we could have had on offense with Max Johnson makes me question Coach O. Anyway, go Tigers and fire Bo. Okay? A lot of truth in that. A lot of truth in that. How many of you are disappointed that Max Johnson wasn't the first guy off the bench initially? We go to Lewis. 6 interceptions and you struggle. I think there's a ton of upside. Mr. C, let's go. Thank you so much, Lewis, for your super chat. Kayshon's on IG Live right now. That's great. He's going to have way more viewers than me, and deservingly so. Let me know if he says anything. He deserves all the shine. I would give him some super chat money, but I want him eligible for next year. Thank you, Black OT, with another super chat. In all seriousness, a team should never have to win despite the coach. Never. Boutte Pelini's got to go. Okay. So, Max, let's see. So, let's start with Max. He donated $50, so I want to spend a lot of time on his comment. How many of you believe, let's start with Kayshon, because obviously, you know, he's by far the MVP of the game. And I know Max Johnson was great, threw for 435 yards, but when 308 of it goes to one guy who, by the way, broke a lot of tackles on that final touchdown, lots of yak, in the words of a wide receivers coach. Let's start with this. How good do y'all think Kayshon Boutte is? Like, do you think, should we be expecting Devonta Smith? Should we be expecting Terrace Marshall type of stuff from him? How good do you guys think he is? Do you think he's Jamar Chase good, or do you think it was because he was going up against the worst defense in the SEC? What do you guys think? So Devin makes a good point here. Better than Rakim Jarrett. And remember that. If Rakim Jarrett would have come to LSU, Kayshon probably wouldn't have gotten the targets that he's gotten now. So, you know, sometimes not getting a 5-star is a good thing, especially now that LSU has so many wide receivers. Heck, they got another one today for the class of 2022. But do you guys think Kayshon is that good? Do you think he's Devonta? Do you think he's Odell Beckham? That's probably a better comparison. There's Odell right there. Yeah, I think Odell's probably a fair comparison. So that was Max's first comment, because Kayshon's going to be a hot pick for all SEC next year. Okay. Now, Max did also talk about Max Johnson. So, how good do you think Max Johnson is? Do you think this performance was just smoke and mirrors? Do you think it was just the Ole Miss defense? It's kind of hard to say that when we saw what we saw against Florida as well. So, Music makes a good point. We could make the case for the best wide receiver school in the SEC. I wouldn't go that far. I would probably, well, we'll see. It's kind of hard to go against Alabama, especially if Devonta wins a Heisman. But still, overall, you can make that case. So, do you guys believe Max Johnson is the for sure guy heading into next year? DC Vlogs, what's up? We say hi to James. We say hi to Lemon. We say hi to Nick. We say hi to Marcellus. We had Debbie, Lawrence, Brandon, Mo Funky. Ooh, I like that. Diggs is that's a pretty good comparison. So let's go ahead and do this, because this is a question that most of you guys are asking or bringing up. Do you think Max Johnson is the day one starter over Myles Brennan? Do you think he is your best option going into next year? And I want you, what's up, Tremaine? I want you to be objective about this. Because feelings would say, well, Myles got hurt and he waited his time. So LSU Tigers says he'd rather Myles Brennan. Most of you guys are saying, heck no, it should be Myles Brennan. Some of you are saying you want an open competition. I mean, here's the problem with saying Myles Brennan, okay? Who was Myles Brennan's best two receivers when Myles Brennan was healthy? Okay, it was Terrace Marshall and Eric Gilbert, both of which are likely not going to be on the team next year. Who is Max Johnson's two biggest targets? Oh, yeah. Coy Moore, Kayshon Boutte. And he has a little thing with Jure as well. Those are probably going to be your three starters on wide receiver next year, and Cole Taylor's probably going to be your starter at tight end. And some of you are still saying TJ Finley. Maybe TJ Finley wins the job this offseason. Max drops another super chat, and he said, hey, hold on. I'm going to upstage my $50 and drop another $5 to include Garrett Nussmeier. I don't think Garrett's going to have a chance to win this job next year, though, Max, because he is a true freshman. Granted, he's going to be as prepared as a true freshman will ever be. The son of an offensive coordinator, obviously going to be an early enrollee, and obviously has been committed to LSU for a long time, but so was Max Johnson. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. And Mo Funky says, don't count out Garrett Nussmeier next year. TRU says TJ is still a work in progress. But before we get into future, let's talk about this game, right? So obviously a lot of you want to talk the LSU defense. I tweeted this stat out during the game, okay? LSU's offense was so daggum good today, but the defense continues to be awful. Now, for all, and there might be some of you who say, well, look, it was our defensive, our coordinator. So that was a problem. Well, some of you would say, well, we forced turnovers. Isn't the point of playing defense forcing turnovers? I would disagree. Once again, the number one metric to determine if a defense is good or not is yards per play. Now, Ethan makes an interesting point that the running game wasn't good and the offense was inconsistent. So I did some work during the game, and I hit up SEC StatCat. I don't know him or her personally, but what I learned is that the LSU offense is so much better throwing the football on first down. Every time LSU runs the football on first down, it's a waste. It's a waste. LSU was 12th this year in the SEC running the football on first down, but they were 7th throwing the football on first down. So what does that mean? Well, when Insminger was aggressive on first down, they were better. Also, for me, some of you disagree with me, and I know this to be true because I got lit up when I said this. LSU's running back room is not that good right now. It's just not that good. You know, I tweeted this out during the game. Josh Williams was LSU's best running back. That is a walk-on. That is a walk-on who was awarded a scholarship in the offseason. So the running game's not there. And we still were able to throw the football as well as we could have thrown the football. And that was the worst defense we went up against by far this year. Still couldn't run the football. So we'll see it. And that's not a criticism of Josh Williams. My point is at a school where we've had Jeremy Hill as a fifth-string running back. Remember, Jeremy Hill was a fifth-string running back. There should never be a situation. Well, Ty Davis-Price and John Emery were hurt. Okay. What have they done this year to say to you that they can't miss unbelievably great players? Nothing. Now, that doesn't mean that they're bad players. They just didn't have the year that we all expected them to. We thought Chris Curry was going to be the next great thing when he got the number 18. Yeah, it's not good. It's not good. So you notice, and we brought this up in the last live stream, why do you think LSU hit the running back position group hard? They're super high on Corey Kiner. I had someone in the building say that is the next Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Someone I trust who doesn't, you guys know I don't like sugarcoating. He said Corey Kiner was his favorite player in the class. Someone I know that works in the building told me that. So if they're that high on that guy, and then they went after Armani Goodwin, and then they offered Logan Diggs, that lets you know that LSU is bracing for an overhaul of the running back room. And the offensive line's got to get better, as King Ulysses pointed out. They were really good in pass protection today. Really good. Now, some of that is helped by Max Johnson's ability to run, but I want to tell you this. You know who's getting ready to kick off for this? Y'all remember last year we were in this game, SEC championship game? Y'all remember last year when we were in that game? You know who's about to kick off for the SEC West? Robert! Thank you for the $20 super chat. Robert, anything you want to talk about, let me know. But I want you guys to understand this. When we were in this game last year, we had an offensive line. The two best teams in the SEC West and the two teams from the SEC West that are in the playoff have not good, not great, but all-time elite offensive lines. Texas A&M's offensive line is ridiculous. I watched them mow down Tennessee. Their skill position guys aren't any good. They're not. They don't get open. Their offensive line's great. And their defensive line's great. You know where Texas A&M hit the hardest in this last recruiting class? Defensive line, offensive line. Alabama, defensive line, offensive line. Now, our pass rush today was pretty good. Especially in the first half, we saw the best of B.J. Ojulari. But our offensive line's got to get better. We should be able to run the football. Part of that is due to the running backs not being that special. I saw two separate times where a cutback angle was wide open. And for those that are saying, well, the offensive line, it's mostly the offensive line. Tell me this. How many times have you watched LSU football this year and you watched one of our running backs make something happen, cutting back in a gap where the play wasn't initially designed? Just doesn't happen. Just does not happen. So that's why I think LSU hit that position group so hard right here at the end. And as we've seen, John Emery's hardly ever available. Very injury prone. You know, we've not gotten 5-star return. Now, that could change next year, but that's just a simple truth. And part of that is because we just can't run. Oh, Jonathan dropping a hundo. I like it. What do Super Chats, Rabbit Feets, and Horseshoes have in common? Hello, great end to a rough year. The two most impactful circumstances, in my opinion, were not starting the season with 1 or 2 cupcakes to build chemistry and no preseason for Pelini if the defense to work together. Well, first thing about that Super Chat, and thank you so much. And John, you are right about that. LSU's defense gave up 500 yards in 6 games, 600 yards in 3 games. And to make it worse, John, the only reason why Arkansas and South Carolina did not get to 500 and 600 yards is because we dominated time of possession so much. Okay? So, for instance, South Carolina, let's use them as an example. South Carolina averaged more yards per play than Ole Miss did. Let me repeat. On a per-play basis, LSU's defense was better versus South Carolina, or actually, worse versus South Carolina than they were today against Ole Miss. The defense was historically bad. So to follow up on Jonathan's big $100 super chat, everybody, round of applause for Jonathan. Thank you for that. Kayshon Boutte, by the way, I want to include this because this is a Kayshon Boutte chat. Remember this. Kayshon Boutte just confirmed that he scored that game-winning touchdown on a sprained ankle. How about that? And I understand that we make fun of him for dropping the football before crossing the end zone versus Alabama. But this is what I like the most about him, if I can really quickly. Kayshon Boutte was named the starter before the season began. And then he gets beat out during the game versus Mississippi State. Gets benched, but just kept fighting. He had the stupid fumble against Alabama. But as I pointed out in our Alabama film study, 2 plays, or just a few plays later, when John Emery had his long touchdown run, it was Kayshon Boutte blocking a guy 40 yards down the field that sprung it. This kid is special because he has hustle. He reminds me of Jarvis Landry. He does all the little things right. He looked like Jamar Chase. And Jonathan, as you pointed out, he was injured all game. So that was Herculean stuff. Now, nothing will never touch Jamar Chase in his performance versus Clemson in the national championship game. 9 catches, 221 yards, 2 TDs, and he also dropped a TD in the fourth quarter of that game. Nothing will ever touch that because of the stage. But this was pretty daggone close, going for over 300 yards. You would think Ole Miss would just put 4 guys on him. But that was some true Herculean stuff. We say hi to Romeo. We say hi to Aiden. We say hi to James. There's 120 of you, but there's only 55 of you that has smashed the thumbs up button. Smash the thumbs up button. Forget the SEC championship game. We all know Bama's going to blow out the undisciplined Florida Gators. Tony's watching us from work. Devin, we'll get to recruiting. Devin's our recruiting guy. We'll get to recruiting a little bit later. Marcellus. What's up, my dude? And Chase did do that against some NFL defensive backs. So nothing will ever touch that performance, but still, Kayshon was pretty close, considering that game-winning TD was on a bum ankle. Oh, I know, Romeo. I'm not stopping. I'm going all night tonight. This is our last, because What some of you guys are going to do, okay? Some of you guys, you're going to say, well, the season's over. Forget Carter. Forget the channel that he worked so hard on. Forget Bug the dog. Forget him. I'll just come back next year. No! Because I've been working on some special projects for you. I got a cool Joe Burrow thing I've been working on. We got a lot of recruiting content. Coming up in a few weeks, I'm going to give you my hard, honest evaluations of all the recruits in the class of 2021. If I think they're going to be a good player, if I think they're just going to be a backup, because let's be honest, not all of them are going to be good. So please subscribe to the channel. The content is going to keep flowing. And like I said, if you don't like honest LSU discussion, there's plenty of places you can go watch. Plenty of places. Chris Curry is an FBS running back. I wouldn't go that far, but he's not a starter. Once again, I put it out there. Our fifth string guy was our best guy. The guy that's not even a scholarship guy ended up being our most trustworthy guy there at the end. Ain't that truth, Marcellus? It was a game like this, a game where not a whole lot of people were really, paying attention to us. Everybody's focusing on Alabama getting ready to beat down Florida and Notre Dame pulling a Notre Dame. And just a few days ago, we were hearing Brian Kelly say, well, we can't play a playoff game without the players' families there. You may not even be in the playoff. What's up, Warhug? What's going on? Let's go. Let's go. Let's see. At least you're not Notre Dame. Remember that. We won today, unlike Notre Dame. We actually, come through when it matters. What's up, Aiden? Kevin, you got to actually send me your email. If any of you guys want to email me, you can hit me up here. Never got the email for the address, so I could send you your autographed card that you want. How about that? If you wear number 1 at LSU, you better be a baller. You better be Brandon LaFell. What's up, man? 2 or 3 not good as ones. Shout out to me since Carter Bryant is ignoring my shout out. 2 or 3 not good as one? Are you kidding me? I would never ignore your shout out. Oh, we're not talking about Steve Sarkisian in Auburn. Robert, are you kidding me? You drop another super chat. A Merry Christmas. Thank you so much, Robert. That was so nice of you. We drop another hundo. We got 2 hundos in here, man. God, I'm my girlfriend and the dog went out to go make Christmas candy with her nieces. I'm telling her not to come back because I do not want her to see all the super chat money coming in because she's gonna be like, you can buy me some more shows. Which, by the way, that is what I got her for Christmas. But Robert, thank you. Jonathan, you have been upstaged by Robert. Robert, I really do appreciate it, man. I really, really do. It means a lot to me. This is what I want to do the rest of my life, is just talk LSU football with you guys. That's all I want to do. That's all I want to do. So, big ups to Max for a great game. Big ups to Eric. Okay? Now, I want you to understand something, because it's funny we're talking about money. It's crazy to me that some people like to hold, and here's my some of you guys don't like the super chat because I do not get do not get 100% of the super chat. YouTube takes half. So that is my Venmo and Cash App. Once again, I forgot to include that earlier. Probably should have done that. So it's funny, all right? You always have to keep this in mind, that whenever you're talking about money, you should always hold coaches accountable over players at the college level, because the coaches are the ones that are making these 7-figure salaries. And as critical as we've been of Pelini, it's hard for the media to be critical of Ed Orgeron. It just is. It may not seem like it, but because Ed Orgeron's the most popular, most powerful person in Louisiana. But, and Kevin, thanks for your email. I need your full address, Kevin, so I can send you. The quicker you can, and I got your email, just send, Kevin, the quicker you could send me your address, I'll be able to send those cards out to Tony. So I want to talk about this. Ed Orgeron burned not one but 2 timeouts on defense on a drive where Ole Miss scored a touchdown anyway. I am shocked. I am shocked that us LSU fans, we say this all the time. Don't burn your timeouts on defense. Don't do it. Okay? The reason why you cannot burn your timeouts on, it seems like you guys want to send Kane a flask. I need to connect Jonathan and Tony. Jonathan, text me your email, and then Kane, you could shoot me an email, and we'll figure it out. Kane, you got a fan base on my channel, man. Everybody always waits for Kane, Eastside Kane. Because Kane's like me. He'll tell it like it is. But those timeouts being burned on defense, it's stupid. It is really stupid, okay? You cannot burn timeouts on defense in the second half of a close game. You just can't do it. And Ed Orgeron burned 2, okay? Now, his final timeout was not his fault. It was not his fault. Kayshon was tired, okay? And he got hurt. And they should have reset or stopped the game. They should have stopped the game clock to allow for an injury timeout. It wasn't in the final 2 minutes of the half. So they should have let Ed Orgeron do that. I cannot say this enough. There's got to be someone on the staff to tell Ed Orgeron that is not smart, because he burned a second half timeout against Missouri, and it killed us at the end of the game. Then he burned another timeout on defense versus Mississippi State. It killed us. You cannot do that. What's up, Chris Coase? So Ed Orgeron needs to be told to not do that. But the other side of it is Ed Orgeron also deserves a lot of credit. He did something that he normally would not do. He listened to the analytics, okay? Now, I'm not a stat numbers cruncher, okay? But more often than not, you should be aggressive on 4th down. So we had a minute left to go before the half, and a lot of you remember this. It was 4th and 2, and instead of kicking the field goal, LSU decided to be aggressive and went for it, and guess what? We scored a touchdown. So Ed Orgeron deserves credit for making that difficult decision, because a lot of us on 4th and 2 with the great field goal kicker would have taken the automatic points there before the half. But Ed Orgeron decided to go for it, which was smart, because even if you kick the field goal, there's still a minute left, and you're giving Ole Miss the ball back, And Ole Miss was going to have the football first to start the second half. So Ed Orgeron deserves credit for making a forward-thinking play. It is the smart analytical move to go for it on 4th and 2 when your offense had been playing well. And guess what? It worked itself out. And Josh, thank you for the Venmo. I appreciate that. So it was smart. Very, very smart. However, blowing the timeouts is lunacy. And I understand your defense was tired. And by calling those timeouts, it took Ole Miss a 4th down to get a touchdown. But you burned the timeout on 1st and goal. So the only way that timeout is justified is if you hold Ole Miss to a field goal there, which is unlikely. So you got to be smart. I'm a huge Josh Jasper fan. Josh and I were friends in college. He's a cool dude. All right. Somebody's eating my dinner. What's up, Cat Daddy? So anyway, once again, Jonathan and Robert's super chat money is still up there. That is crazy. $100 donations. That money is going to Booger, who may or may not make an appearance. I've gotten hate mail for no Booger on the live streams. I like that, Dr. Drew. I like it. So anyway. So that's the thing, Carvis. Let's talk about the future of the LSU defense. LSU's defense, if you were to rate the LSU defense today on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the best, 1 being the worst, how would you rate the LSU defense? 10 being the best, 1 being the worst. Let's see. All right. And Clemson -10. Three. Our defense was a 4.8. So here's the conundrum. If your defense has as many turnovers as our defense had today, we had a pick 6. We didn't really have. Did we even have 1 pick 6 last year? Valenti, thank you for the super chat, man. So that's the thing. We had a +9 turnover margin on this defense. So some of you say worst defense of all time, but this defense does force more turnovers. They do. So do you think with better personnel next year, which we will have, and another year of experience, which we will have, do you think our defense will be better in our new scheme? Okay, and they did do Brad Wing wrong on that. So that's the thing, Devin. With the Bo Pelini defense, you do force more turnovers and you do create more havoc. According to SEC StatCat, they have I don't know if it's a guy, girl, group of people. I don't know. LSU has been the best defense behind the line of scrimmage. That includes making tackles in the backfield. That includes forcing sacks. Carvis says, and this is you guys know, Carvis has been one of our best commenters on this channel. He's been pretty consistent with this. He likes the 4-3. And he said next year our 4-3 is going to look a lot better. Do you guys believe that to be true, though? Carvis thinks it's going to take another year. Keep Bo Pelini around And let's see what happens. Look, there is a benefit of keeping Boutte Pelini around. Number one, and I'm telling you now, this is going to be the first year where money actually is an issue. Okay. Now, what does that mean? Well, money is actually an issue. No, it's LSU football. Money's never an issue at LSU football. Well, it is. It is an issue. We don't have the same amount of revenue. LSU's fired a lot of people. LSU's let a lot of people go, some of which I knew. If you keep Boutte Pelini around, you're saving yourself a butt ton of money. And then you're going to have to pay for someone else to come in. And what if that someone else wants a certain type of assistant? Then you got to fire those other assistants. So some of you probably think, well, if we get Sage Ryan and we get Derek Davis and Landon Jackson and those guys and Mason, our defense is going to be better in the new system. But you see, this is a problem. Some of you are saying, well, the 4-3 is fine. But is the 4-3 fine when LSU, by far, was the worst defense in the country when it came to 50-yard plays? According to Brooks Complaint, I saw him tweet this stat out. LSU's 9 50-plus yard plays were the worst in college football this year. The worst. And Kevin, I get that. Trust me, LSU could pay up a buyout, but that Gus Malzahn buyout has long been coming. And that's at least your head coach. At least you're getting a tabula rasa, everything, getting a clean slate. So we'll see. I'm telling you, Bryce Langston would be a pretty good defensive tackle in the 4-3. He's actually not what Neil Farrell and Glenn Logan are, which are 3-4 gap eaters, 2-gap guys. Bryce Langston would be a very good fit in a 4-3. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Now, some of you are saying, well, I'm happy to see Jacoby Stevens go. I'm not. Jacoby Stevens is a legend. Is he all-time great? No. So legend might be a strong word. But he was an overall net positive. Here's a guy that came in as a 5-star safety from out of state. Well, his true freshman year, he wasn't even the one that got the playing time, right? It was Grant Delpit. And then as a sophomore, he saw Grant Delpit continue to get playing time, and he didn't. It wasn't really until last year Jacoby finally got to play. He showed up. He showed out. He was better than Grant Delpit. And this year, a lot of you want to criticize Jacoby Stevens. I criticize him plenty. But I don't want to do a good riddance for a guy that did not give up on us. So I love me some Jacoby Stevens. Now, was he great this year? No. I think even he would say he wasn't as good this year as he was last year. But look who was the safety he was playing with. Mo Hampton had a disappointing year, and it took a while before Todd Harris started playing decent. And Kane makes a good point. I personally have been very critical of Jacoby Stevens. But one thing I've not criticized him for is effort and sticking it out. And there was some good Jacoby and there was some bad Jacoby. I think Corey Foreman's going to USC. How about that? So I got a text from my girlfriend, and she says Boog is on the way. Let everyone know that Boog is on the way. No, Corey Foreman signed. He signed early, so there's no time to flip him. LSU, as Cliff points out here, 6 games with 500 yards allowed, 3 games with 600 yards allowed. And once again, that is not yards per play, okay? Yards per play is a better metric, which makes it even worse. So now, once again, another positive, okay? Shout out to the Mr. Radney. Cade York was clutch once again. And it's interesting because LSU might legitimately win the Ray Guy and the Lou Groza in the years that they are absolutely awful. I agree with you, Carvis. I mean, would you really want Corey Foreman right now? Honestly, obviously you would. You'd want the number 1 nationally ranked player, but it comes at a position where you're already loaded. I would like Savion Jones. I hope he still gets to sign. I think LSU still wants him. So Dr. Drew says LSU has a hellified quarterback as well. How about that? It's interesting. We don't have as many people watching after a win as we do a loss. Should be flipped. Right? What's up, Cody? Michael says he's from Flower Mound. Garrett is legit. Interesting. Cade York is such a beast. Cliff says we want Foreman the same way we wanted Earl. That's true. But for me, this is how I view it. I don't view Corey Foreman so much better than the defensive lineman we did get compared to how much better I view JoJo versus the wide receivers we did get. I think Deion Smith is going to be a monster, though. I really do. And here's the thing. You really only need one of those receivers to be great. You really do. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Breaking, Marco Wilson didn't throw a shoe. I actually turned the Bama game off. I don't even want to watch it. You guys are my main focus. Only my diehards are here. An update on Tristan Lee. I don't have one. Probably going to Oklahoma or Florida. Ohio State and Clemson are probably more likely than us right now. It's a pipe dream, so fingers crossed. He's a heck of a football player, though. He really is. He's going to be good wherever he goes. Najee Harris, good for him. And Najee's being rewarded for coming back another year. And what were his top 6 choices? I'm to the point where I care. There's only so much recruiting I could do. TJ Finley wouldn't go to Bama? What? Oh. Well, here's the thing, Marcellus. You should always want what a player feels best. Okay? I've never liked a wide receiver as much as I like JoJo Earl. Now, when Jarvis Landry came out, I really thought he was the real deal. But, I love. He went to Alabama. Life moves on. My Tigers aren't based on one player. LSU football is not based on me. It's not based on you. That's the great thing about it. LSU football's always LSU football. That's number one. So if you want to be with this, be with this. If you don't want to be, probably better that you went somewhere else. Anonymous, I'll go all night if the donations keep coming. Baskerville needs to stay at linebacker. So are you saying that? Okay, I see what you're saying. Okay. Carter till 4 a.m. is trending on Twitter. I will if the super chats keep coming, baby. Because it's just a natural reaction for most people. Now, some of you that are watching me while there's NFL and SEC football on, I know you guys are going to keep watching throughout the year. But it's just natural. When football season happens, people just don't watch as much. So I'm bracing for it. I hope we continue to grow in the off season. But, you just always brace for it. You do. I agree. No, I think Micah Baskerville is a really good player, and he plays with a lot of attitude. I know, Andrew, but, I don't want to talk about that. I mean, it's not that I want to avoid it, but, it's very serious. Drake Davis, as bad as a thing that he did, the person doing wrongdoing is bad, but it's the enabling of it. It's the actions around it. That's what really matters. So that's the penalty. If you do the right thing the first time, you're not in the situation. I hope TJ goes to Auburn and kills us. No, not well. Number one, Auburn would not be a good. Well, it depends on who they hire. But he wouldn't be a good fit for the Gus offense. But obviously, Gus isn't there next year. I appreciate that, Cliff. You can't be mad if Max played better, though. Are you saying that to me? Or I'm not mad at all. I'll tell you that. I am ecstatic. Because here's the thing, all right? So when I first started, Cliff was one of our viewers, and we both thought Max Johnson was a better option than TJ Finley. Well, it just happened to be that week of practice, TJ Finley was better than Max Johnson, which is why he got the start against South Carolina. And guess what? It was justified. I mean, TJ was phenomenal in that game. But my sources, all right, I always say sources. I don't talk about sources all the time because I always want it to be my opinion. But I reached out, and I was told if the Florida game would have happened at the design time of the Florida game, that Max Johnson probably would have been the starter, just by a little bit. Look, TJ Finley's really good. He's a really good SEC-capable quarterback. Yeah, Jonathan, I mean, I always believed in Max, and I always said I would like to see him get a chance to start. Even if TJ Finley continued to play the way that he was playing, which against Arkansas, he was really good. Against South Carolina, he was really good. But I kept saying over and over and over that in both of those situations, he had more than a week to prepare. So you can really only, and you got to think about this, okay? You can only judge a quarterback based on how they do with only a week to prepare. Now, why is that? Well, think about this. LSU, since 2009, had never had more time to prepare for their opponent than the opposition. It's never happened. Why? Because LSU's bye week has always coincided with Alabama's bye week. Amacat, one team, one heartbeat. Welcome. So that's why it is so important to judge a player based on how they do when both teams have similar time to prepare. So if you are watching this and you're a TJ Finley fan, that's a strike against your argument, because TJ Finley, in the 2 games that we saw where he was excellent, he had more time to prepare than the opposition. That's not me putting him down. It's just a simple truth. In both of Max Johnson's great performances these past 2 weeks, let's put full context on it. These were the only 2 times where he was the clear-cut first-string guy. But Florida's defense and Ole Miss's defense aren't as good as Auburn's defense or Alabama's defense. That's true. But Max Johnson won both of these games with a skeleton team. Okay? Now, Cliff makes a good point. What would this offense look like with Miles Brennan at the helm? We don't know. We don't know. Oh, no, I get what you're saying, Kane. Never put down a player. And like I said, all the times that I have been critical of Kayshon Hines, and I have been very critical, I hate it. I hate being critical of college athletes. I hate it. I hate it when I say the running backs room is not that great. I freaking hate it. It makes me feel uncomfortable because they're college kids. I only say that to be objective and to be honest. This is anytime you put on that purple and gold jersey and you're fighting like heck for us, I'm all behind you. But sometimes we need honesty, okay? And today, we learned a lot because also know this offensive line had a really good game today with Kayshon Hines out of the lineup. Tony, that's a good way to put it. They both had their ups and downs. Oh, here we go.
Here she is, everybody. Here's the bagger.
All right, Jonathan just made a super chat too for Booger.
She's here.
She's here. Come on. All right, everybody. I know y'all been waiting. Everyone say had a big. She's had a long week too. We got a win today, Booger.
Don't excite her too much.
I'm not. You have fun today out there?
Yeah, I had her best friend.
Yeah, she got to see her best friend. Her best friend's a dog named Tartar.
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 In Papa's house.
Go ahead, take her. There she is. Love her neck accessory. That was like what, a few dollars? So it's what, $14? We got her name and phone number and everything on the back of it.
She's like, "What are you drinking, Dad?"
I agree with you, Kane.
We gotta go empty the car out, Booger.
Okay. So Michael says, are there any chances that Eric Gilbert stays? Oh, there's a chance. One thing I would do, if I'm at Orgeron, the best thing for him to do is to go to BJ Ojulari and make sure BJ Ojulari stays. So if you were to ask me who's the most valuable freshman you need to make sure doesn't transfer. Well, we know Max isn't going to transfer. We know Kayshon's not going to transfer. So they're out of the question. The most valuable guy you need to stay is BJ Ojulari. He's more valuable than Eric Gilbert simply because a pass rusher is just more valuable. Eric Gilbert is still a very valuable weapon. Eric Gilbert is still a better player than Cole Taylor, but Cole Taylor's a really good player. Let me see. I'll go back to your question. Things to Jonathan, things that make you go, given this crazy year with COVID loopholes, do you think players that get a Senior Bowl invite can return next year? Yeah, I think so. But if I'm Jabril Cox is going to be an early round pick. As will Well, Racy McMath, it'd be nice to have Racy back. Not one thing about Racy McMath, he's a really good special teamer, and our special teams today was not that great. Cole Tracy was great. I said Cole Tracy. Cade York was great. Zach Van Rosenberg was great again, but our kickoff coverage was terrible. So, it'd be nice to have Racy McMath back, but I think he's gone. Obviously, KVH is gone. So we'll see. I say KVH. Kerry Vincent's gone.
We gotta go get all our stuff.
That's true, Kane. So, look
Didn't
at that.
turn out good?
That is a good little photo,
Share
booger.
a piece of the bacon.
This was our booger photo. Look at that. Look at that. Official PHL mascot, Boog the dog. Look at those eyes. Look at that.
That's so good.
That is so good.
That's what the new iPhone 12 Pro Max.
Let's see. So Max did throw into heavy coverage some, but the difference is when TJ's under pressure, he's got to chunk it into coverage or throw it away. Max has the ability to run. Something else that was a little troubling is as great as our pass rush was, Matt Corral had 158 yards rushing, and that's not Johnny Manziel running the ball. That's true, Kane. Because here's the risk you run with Eric Gilbert. What if he comes back and he does and the same thing happens? I'm telling you. The same thing kind of applies here with anyone, really. If you look in the locker room and you see someone in the locker room that doesn't want to be there, let him go. Let's see. TJ has a lot of potential, but I have to say Max is better. I would agree. Yeah, we just want to win. I don't, and this is just my personal opinion. Race is always a factor in a lot of things, but I don't think it's a factor here. I think it's, pretty clear with Max Johnson and Cliff's my uncle. So I think here it's pretty clear that Max Johnson has a leg up in the quarterback competition between those two. Now, it's interesting. I wish for me we could have had a full year of Miles Brennan. But something that's very interesting, though, and Matt Corral is not a runner. It's interesting because, the SEC championship game that's on, I have it off. The SEC championship game is featuring two quarterbacks that cannot run at all. Neither one of them can run. Neither one of them. So it's weird because, you don't need to run, or do you? Yeah, I don't think Cliff ever mentioned skin color. But people are going to. I think that was Jonathan's point. I think. But people are going, and I think both TJ and Max are good at different things. Oh, for sure, Michael. The only way I could keep going, though, is if you guys keep watching and keep super chatting and keep donating and all that. I want to have 5,000 subscribers minimum by the start of next year. I think you guys are going to like some of the stuff I'm doing on Joe Burrow to reminisce the good old days. Well, Devin, everyone says that about every college campus. Every single person says that I wanted to come because it's a family atmosphere. things change. We tend to forget these are 17 and 18-year-old kids that have been recruited since they were 15 years old. I don't know, Daniel. I'm not a recruiter. Northwestern had a good game plan today. They just didn't have the hosses to stop the run, but goodness. Remember how everybody was down on Joe Burrow in 2018? That's just how it now in 2020. That's true. There was a lot of Joe Burrow skepticism in 2018, and some of it was justified. There were 6 quarterbacks in the SEC in 2018 that threw for 3,000 yards, and Joe Burrow, a quarterback who started in every game, was not one of them. So there was a lot of reason for Joe Burrow's skepticism. It just happened. I'm never going to doubt that guy again. But here are the huge things that LSU needs to work on in the offseason. Number 1, you've got to stop the explosive plays on defense. That is the number 1 reason why this team was bad this year, was the defense. Without a reasonable doubt, that is by far the number 1 overall thing. Bo Pelini's scheme, some of you want to bring back the 4-3. Some of you, if you say that you want to bring back the 4-3, do you want to bring back the 4-3? Wait, I disappeared? Did I disappear, Max? Houdini. But if you want to bring back the 4-3, don't you have to bring back Bo Pelini? Okay, Jonathan, I see what you're saying. No, I don't think anyone is saying that. Imacat, you never quit a job when others were depending on me. Well, a lot of people do. You personally might not have quit a job when other people were depending on you, but other people have, and it was perfectly justified. So I get Eric Gilbert not wanting to be there anymore. A lot of recruits are like that. I just don't think I think his situation is more, and I don't know him personally. I don't know his mental health. I have a 40-minute piece on Eric Gilbert. Mental health is a very important thing. With that said, because some of you are arguing about quitting, what Terrace Marshall did was quitting, but it wasn't as bad as what Eric Gilbert did, who can't just jump to the NFL. With that said, each player's situation is different. And if you're opting out, your mind wasn't in there to begin with. Okay, Lawrence, you have to know that every single time you get a recruit, though. Look, we got 85 slots. Next year, we'll only have 81, but every single year, you have 25 slots. You have to know every recruit that you bring in, there is the possibility that they transfer. You have to know that. Okay, so to Cliff's point, do you want LSU to continue with Bo Pelini next year? How many of you want Bo Pelini back next year? If you want Bo back, type Y for yes. Do you want Bo to go? Type no. And I agree with you, Mo Funky. I want Eric Gilbert back. Type in for no if you want Bo Pelini fired. But if you want Bo Pelini to stay, type Y for yes. Bo must go. No. Michael's torn. Kyle says no. Logan says no. Adam says 1 more year. What are you on? Okay. let's go to Gerald here. What are you on the fence about? What is the thing you're on the fence about? James says if we fix the O-line, we break more records. Well, that's easier said than done. Because next year, Alabama's going to have a better offensive line than us. And shoot, Texas A&M, they have got some hosses. And they recruited they got 2 offensive linemen in this class that I love. Bryce Foster, who's the best guard in this class, and they also got a good tackle out of Texas. So all of you guys say Bo must go. I want to bring this up because I want to make sure I get this right. Now, 5 picks and we had to score 53 points to win. PJ makes a good point. LSU is 2-0 without Gilbert. And the offense was great in both of those games. But it's not only without Gilbert, it's also without Marshall too. And Ole Miss put up 48 points without their 2 best weapons. So Gerald, Gerald says, I think Bo is doing a fair job with everything we know going on with personnel, not knowing who's going to start week to week, which is a great point. Personally, I think Bo Pelini should be let go. But can I? So a lot of you are making analogies about Eric Gilbert and quitting. Okay, tell me this. Let me ask you this. All right, and I want you guys to think what I'm about to say with an open mind. A lot of you are criticizing Eric Gilbert. But you know one thing I could give Eric Gilbert a lot of credit for? He was healthy for every game. And Eric Gilbert had a few games where he had to fight through injury. Did he not? Okay? At least when Eric Gilbert quit or when he opted out, I don't like calling it quitting because I just like to call it opting out. You know what the good thing is? I would rather, let's just use the job analogy. I would rather someone quit their job and get completely out of the picture instead of a coworker who I'm trying to depend on, who is still at the job, but may or may not want to be there. Let me ask you this, okay? Eric Gilbert, we do know this to be true, that the tight ends room was hit hard by the virus. That was one of the biggest things that happened for the Bama game. Our tight ends room was completely wiped out by the pandemic. Now, I don't know for certain if Eric Gilbert had the C-19. He might have had a bad reaction to it. But I can tell you that someone I spoke to in the building told me that Eric Gilbert was playing through a lot of injury. He actually did severely hurt his arm against Missouri, and he still fought through it. Let me ask you this. Let's say let's say you work somewhere. Would you rather have an employee that just quits, or would you rather have an employee that is inconsistent, may or may not be there, and is not very vocal as to whether or not they're going to be there or not? Who would you rather have? Would you rather have a coworker who quits or another coworker who may or may not be available, but you don't know? Who would you rather have? I'm asking you right now. Would you rather have the employee that just quits and just is out of the picture, a coworker, Or would you rather have someone that may or may not be there? You don't know if they're going to be there. I think most of you would say you would rather have the guy that just quits and is completely out of the picture. Okay? You would rather, in this situation, have someone that is going to be there, but then all of a sudden just quits, compared to the coworker who you may or may not be able to rely on. Exactly, Adam. So Adam is speaking my mind right now. I would rather the person that quits, so I don't have to worry about him anymore. Okay? So, in this example, option A was Eric Gilbert. Option B was Derek Stingley Jr. Let me explain. Bo Pelini's defense was bad this year. Really, really bad. But his number one employee was often hurt. Okay? But the problem with his injuries is that they were nagging injuries. Okay? And because they were nagging injuries, we didn't know if Derek Stingley Jr. was going to be healthy or not to be able to play. And I've made this point before. Okay? I'm not giving Derek Stingley Jr. smoke. I'm not, because he obviously had a lot of injuries. What I'm doing here is defending Bo Pelini, simply because he is an all-time worst coach at LSU. He's the worst defensive coordinator I've ever seen. But if there is something you could defend him on, the biggest thing I will defend him on is that Derek Stingley Jr., who we expected to be the player that he was last year, was simply unreliable because of health reasons. Stingley did not quit. Stingley did not quit. He was on the sideline, fully dressed out. For whatever reason, he had struggles staying healthy. The Mississippi State thing happened. And then something completely different happened in the game versus Missouri. And then he had a concussion during the middle of the game against Arkansas. Then Florida, he warms up right before the game, doesn't play. So that's my point of showing you the coworker thing. It's harder to deal with employee number B compared to employee number A, because employee number A, you could just take out of the game plan. Whereas employee number B, well, he may be there or he may not. And while he's there, he might not be able to stay healthy the rest of the way. And you're right, Lawrence. You don't know. You don't know what Stingley's full health situation was. But in a season recap, I will tell you this, okay? The Alabama game, I still think about it. I still think about the Devonta Smith thing. I opted out of smoking. It's not quitting. It's opting out. Dude quit on his team. Glad he's not here anymore. Don't want to. Dang, Max. Hey, and here's the thing, Max. I'm fully with you. Some people view quitting as legit a right or wrong thing, a black or white thing. I view quitting on a scale. I think the word quitting is a gray word, because quitting sometimes is a good thing, but quitting more often than not is a bad thing. If Eric Gilbert was dealing with mental health issues, if his body really was in unbearable pain, then quitting was a good thing for both LSU and him. But some people view quitting as you quitting, and it's bad every single time. So I get it, Max. I get your point. And some people view it that way. I simply don't. That doesn't make you a good or a bad person, though. It doesn't. But to go along with Debbie's point about Derek Stingley, I'm not criticizing him. I'm not criticizing him personally. I'm not, because obviously he's a sublime talent. But the simple truth is the simple truth. To defend Boutte Pelini just for a second, when you're clear-cut best player on defense, that's what we labeled him before the season. We labeled him as a Heisman finalist. If you were expecting him to be healthy throughout the year, but there were games where you thought he was going to be healthy, but he wasn't, it's tough. Now, hopefully he gets fully healthy and he's ready to go next year. We have him on one side. We got Elias Ricks on the other. Sage Ryan playing the slot. We're back to it. Some of you want to talk Kayshon Boutte. Let's talk Kayshon Boutte. Breaking records. All-time great record breaker. So, first off, let's talk about Kayshon's performance in and of itself. Did a great job of getting open. It looked like he did a little bit of everything. What we saw versus Florida and Alabama were simply just deep routes. We also saw him improve on him running his slants and him running intermediate routes. And it's interesting. What did Mo Funky say? Boutte is the one with the wallet that says BMF on it. That's funny. Wide receiver room is stacked. O-line is in question. Boutte the next Jamar. Boutte should opt out the next 2 seasons. What's up, Danos?
My favorite person.
My babe's my lovely girlfriend's favorite person is Thanos.
I just love the name. It's so good.
No, his name is Thanos Bison. That's even better.
Because you love bison burgers.
That is a good point.
Yeah.
Y'all understand bison burgers are better than actual ground beef? Have y'all ever had bison? What's up, Cody? About time Cody joined. Is Finley leaving? That's a good question, Kyle. Should Steve Ensminger retire? Does he retire? It wouldn't shock me. The slinger rolling off into the sunset. I actually thought Steve Ensminger was good this year. I really do. He had to call plays for 3 separate quarterbacks. 2 of them are true freshmen. Valenti made bison chili the other night. Look at you.
You don't like chili, though.
Yeah, chili can give me some mud butt.
Carter, do not say that.
What word would you say? What word do you say for mud butt?
It upsets your stomach.
It upsets my stomach?
Yes.
That's too many words. It's not as easy as just saying mud butt.
I hope your mom's not watching.
What's wrong with saying mud butt?
She'll be calling me 5 minutes.
Is mud butt going to get me demonetized?
It might.
It might.
It might.
What's up, Michael? What's up, S Velvet? What, did you get the shrimp cocktail?
No, I'm just going to have fish.
Just gonna fish?
Mm-hmm. I didn't really want one. I just got your food.
Where'd you get your fish from?
I had salmon or tuna steaks up there still.
Are you about to saute?
Yeah. Why are you worried about it?
I'm not worried about it. I'm just checking in on you.
I'm good.
Garrett Nussmeyer. Yeah, wasn't Coach E with the Saints? I think so. Swamp cheeks is what Dez says. Swamp cheeks. I like that one. Let's see. All right, so the floor is open. Our $100 super chats are disappearing. Oh, is that my mom about the mud butt?
Hello.
Is mom really mad about me saying mud butt?
Good. I just got home. Huh?
Is that KB? Oh.
Oh,
Bubble guts.
Your mom wants me to send you the link. Send her the link. So I'll text it to you.
Yeah, I can't. It's hard for me to do it here.
Oh, it was good.
Everyone, we got to stop the live stream because my mother has to have the link to the live stream.
All right,
We've done 20 live streams. She can't figure it out.
You're lucky. You're lucky.
What am I lucky about?
Because she didn't hear you.
Well, I'm glad she didn't hear me. She could just rewind it, though.
Well, she won't. She only wants to listen to it just a little bit.
So our super chats have disappeared, which means that you guys can super chat or Venmo. What's up, Eric? From the Air Force Base. That's cool. I was waiting on you, Eric. I was wondering. We got a lot of military tigers in here. Tony's in here. I think Romeo's still in here too. If Miles loses a job, hope he has a chance to succeed somewhere. Well, he's got 2 years of eligibility remaining. Hey, sometimes a transfer is a good thing. The transfer, you get to go to a new school. You get a fresh set of eyes. I don't think anyone expected JT Daniels to be as good as we expected. What's up, Friday? Congressman, Bungee Boy, welcome. Kane, I'm just trouble. Jonathan with the super chat. Hope everyone has a Merry Christmas. Thank you so much, man. Kane, you got to email me so I can give Jonathan your address for the flask. Eric, where are you based again, man? So, after Jonathan's super chat, I want to throw it out there. What do you guys want to talk about? Do you want to talk? We've talked everything we could talk about in the game. I gave you my thoughts on Ed Orgeron. He made some bad second half decisions, made a lot of good first half decisions.
Is he going to stay the coach?
Anybody hear about Marcel Brooks coming back?
I had a question.
Ed Orgeron going to stay the coach? Ed Orgeron will stay the coach. So here's the thing, okay? Do you guys want Ed Orgeron back? That's what my girlfriend's asking you guys. Do you want Ed Orgeron back as the head coach next year for the LSU Tigers?
I do because I like to look at him.
Yeah, Kane, just DM me on Twitter. That's perfect. That's perfect.
That's my boyfriend, Ed Orgeron.
You want Ed Orgeron back for sure. Yes.
Yeah.
Cody, it's looking pretty good that LSU's going to get at least one JUCO OL. Oh, Mo Funky. If you give me a super chat, I'll do that.
Do what? Nothing bad, Carter.
Kane's the only one that says no. Okay. But Kane was the only. Who won the Heisman for LSU last year? That's a tough trivia question. I was impressed that Kevin knew the answer to our trivia question, but that's why the cards are actually right over there. I'd rather have Lane. Heck, Lane's a heck of a coach. We saw it today.
Lane Kiffin?
Urban's not coming out of retirement. He didn't take the Texas job. If Urban wanted the Texas job, Tom Herman would have been guillotined by now. You hit the little S, and I don't know. I don't know how the super chat works. Or you can Venmo or Cash App donation. Thanks to Josh for hooking us up with a donation a minute ago.
Everything goes to better.
So Reggie makes a good point. Okay? So often we only look at things from our angle, but the person that actually makes the decision of whether or not someone's going to get fired is the athletic director. Okay? I know, Danos, forcing 6 turnovers and giving up 50 points, basically. 50. And that many yards per play. Think about this. Dave Aranda's defense last year gave up on average 6 yards per play. There is not a home game we had this year where we had less than 7.4 yards per play. For reference, since 2009, there's only been about 5 or 6 defenses that have given up 7+ yards per play. Okay? So the LSU defense, statistically and efficient-wise, was one of the worst defenses of all time, especially at LSU. Now, turnovers-wise, we were pretty daggum good. What's up, Steve-O the Gringo? Steve in South America from Lake Charles, welcome. Sheed, I like Sheed a lot. The tight end, he's going to have to wait his turn, though. He's going to be behind Cole Taylor. Looks pretty good. Devin, he will not be fired. He is as safe as anyone because he wasn't around here when any of that stuff happened. The athletic director that was around here was fired for the guy that's here right now. Verge did resign, and there will be more after him. Exactly, Kevin. It was a false narrative, but what I would say is there were some locker room tensions. Exactly, Kane. Also, today proved that Dabo Swinney's one of the greatest college football coaches ever, period. Lock it up. He's one of the greatest of all time.
Well, I mean, his name alone.
Dabo's a great name. But to comment on Kane's comment really quickly, Dabo is an all-time great coach. I mean, look at all the teams that he has beaten over the years. And I'm not going to lie. What Joe Burrow did versus Clemson, and I've done a lot of film studies on that Clemson game, was pretty incredible because the Clemson defense really played us well when it comes to getting pressure on Joe. That was a close game in the third quarter. Joe Burrow threw no pick sixes. Clemson dropped a pick six in the third quarter of that game last year. So, Dabo's just an all-time great coach. You may hate what he has to say, but he's one of the greatest to ever put on the headset. Bottom line. Dabo's just lucky to not play Saban every year. Well, I would disagree. Saban is lucky to not play Dabo every year. Name a coach who's coached better versus Alabama than Dabo. And the answer to that is nobody. So, outside of Nick Saban, Dabo is the best coach in college football. And there's not a close third, to be honest. And Cody, you're right. Trust me, Dabo's happy that he doesn't have to. It's mutual. We'll put it that way. But back to the Ed Orgeron question. Remember this and notice, what's the Alabama score? I turned it off. Exactly. I would agree with what Steve-O says because Nick Saban has such a huge tactical advantage over every coach in the SEC. I did, James, on Sheed, the 3-star tight end. Maybe he can be an offensive tackle. We'll see. It's 21-10. Okay. Oh, we had a pick six against Vandy last year? That's a good question, Lawrence. Does Clemson have the level of success in the SEC? I think so. Obviously, it changes a whole lot because it depends if they're on the SEC or the SEC West. If they're in either division, who is their cross-division rival? So much would be different. But with the way that they're recruiting right now, yeah, the answer to that is yes. Brad said it's not even close. Max over TJ and Brennan. Okay. Big Chopper. I love it when you call me Big Chopper. Sometime, bro, you have to give it a chance. You never know. You gave Bo Pelini. Thank you, S. Velvet. Merry Christmas, Carter, for your consistent positive outlook on our many back and forths and staying cordial throughout our back and forths. And I still think Aranda's defense sucked. You're never going to let it go. So here's what I would say to you, S Velvet. Thank you for your donation. Booger really appreciates it. My dog Booger, not Booger McFarland, but I'm sure he would appreciate you supporting me. I've never met Booger McFarland. I would like to. But I appreciate it. I really do. No, James. Coach O, any coach would rather have more practices. He declined the bowl because Scott Woodward told him to do that. That was a Woodward decision. No, we are not in a bowl game. Yeah, and everybody's getting a bowl game because of our off-field problems. Where'd Bud go? Yeah, where'd Bud go? Up. I'm going to bring it down later. So Brad says it should be Max's job simply because he's more mobile. I would agree with that. I would agree with that to an extent. Because I don't know how much better LSU's offensive line is going to look next year. Let me ask you guys this. If Austin Deculus decides to go pro, I think Austin Deculus is fine. I think he's not good against speed rushers. They eat him alive, but you can work around that. Dare Rosenthal, I just don't know if I like this offensive line next year. I think Ensminger's good overall, but I would just bail on running on first downs. The math doesn't support you at all. But Rosenthal will be a redshirt junior, so I think he'd be available to go pro, right? You say that to Deculus, so, but as Jonathan points out, is Marcus Dummerville going to be a beast? Is Marcus Dummerville actually going to be good? We don't know that. A lot of you like Marcus Dummerville. I do too. But you know what's interesting? On the two deep today in warmups, Anthony Bradford nor Cardell Thomas was in today. So to answer Devin's thing, I don't know. What's up, Dane? About time you stopped by a live chat. Dane said, enough with the SEC championship game. Hey, bring Booger here real quick. Eric didn't get to see Booger. Eric's at the Air Force Base. Eric, this is just for you. Another Booger sighting. There you go. There's Bug. Right there. Hey, Debbie. I don't know, Steve-O. We got our boy Garrett Dellinger coming in. There you go, Eric. That was just for you. Thanks for...
I got it. Come on. You want your tower?
2 years with Moffitt. I honestly, I personally don't think our boy is going to be ready to play next year, Dellinger.
Is your mama baby? What's wrong? You upset?
What's good, Joel?
Joe Byers?
No, Joel, our student, resident student. Anything, Eric, man. There's nothing like seeing a dog, man. You know what's funny? Boog is my first ever dog. Okay, so think about that. I have a dog that awesome as my first ever dog because I have the woman of my dreams. She brought Boog, the bug of my dreams. It used to be Booger McFarland #1 on my booger list.
That's really not her name, though, people.
But her real name is Bernadette. Bernadette Robin.
Is it Mama Bernadette?
Let's go to Lewis here. LSU QB Max Johnson is the fourth player in LSU history with the 400-yard passing game. This is the seventh 400-yard passing game in LSU history by a single quarterback. Joe Burrow did it 4 times last year. Wow. What's he doing, Devin? Let me know what he does. It's interesting. Not only did Max Johnson play this well, he played well with a skeleton roster. You got to understand, 50 scholarship guys. 50. What's up, Lean? We got some lean up in here. Next thing you know, you'll see Jamarcus Russell. That was a good joke. Because you get it? No, I'm just kidding. I love Jamarcus Russell. We saw Jamarcus Russell when we ate at Phil's Oyster House.
Yeah, we did. Big old guy.
Oh, God. Whenever you see Jamarcus Russell in person, you're like, goodness, they make quarterbacks like that? Oh, so Kayshon went to Raising Cane's? What? Todd Graves giving that booster money? I'm kidding. I'm kidding. That's a clear joke. I don't want the NCAA coming knocking on my door. Hey, tell us what you know about these never ever frozen chicken fingers. Yeah, so Coach O's signing day press conference, he said we have a couple of, I think he said O-line silent commits, but he couldn't talk about them yet. So I think he puts it out there so when he goes to recruit some of these JUCO offensive linemen, he could say, hey, I was talking about you in that scenario. I know. S. Velvet, I know you just joined us. We just did a whole thing about that on Derek Stingley Jr. I give Derek Stingley Jr. all the shout-outs in the world. He's one of the greatest LSU corners. But, you know, I would actually go the opposite. I think part of the problem is that you didn't know if he was going to be healthy or not. And that hamstrings you because he is so good. Ask any defensive coordinator, what would the one guy on their team, what would you want? And every defensive coordinator will tell you, I want a corner who can lock down half of the field. And when that wasn't there for you in a year that you thought that was going to be there for you, it hurts you. Already got the feds. I'm telling you. I love Todd Graves, though. I love me some Raising Cane's. I do. Love me some Raising Cane's. But you know what's funny? I also like Slims and I also like Zaxby's. I just like chicken tenders. I like chicken. Oh, did he say D-line? Well, I guess that was Bryce Foster. Or not Bryce Foster's. Bryce Langston. Oh, that's fine. That's Velvet. You can come in late all you want. You gave a super chat, so I appreciate it. Now, I talked about that earlier. Hopefully, we got a fully healthy Sting, and he's doing Derek Stingley things next year. Dane, one of my best buds, says Zaxby's is better than Cane's. How dare you? If you're born in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, you are the first thing they do, and they don't tell you this at the hospitals in Baton Rouge, the first thing that they do as a child is they dip you in cane sauce. That's what they Yeah, Bryce Foster committed to A&M. And why did he commit at 6 a.m? What the heck is that? Why would you do? That's why I know he's going to be a good player, because only someone that is evil would commit at 6 a.m. Max says, I'm out. I'll be back later. My girl's here. So for those that don't know, Max earlier this year told his girlfriend to go home because of our live chat, because Max's girlfriend was complaining that Max wasn't paying attention to her. Max was watching the live chat. Max, that is called having your priorities in order. But now Max is leaving our chat to go hang out with this girlfriend. Now, Max, how can you do such a thing? I like that. What's up, Cuban? Max, I'm joshing you. You've donated so much money to my channel. You could do whatever you want, Max. Devin, don't call a man out like that. I think you got to move on from Bo Pelini, but LSU might not be in a financial position where they can. I know, Kane, we've all been there. We have. Is that true, Cliff? My girlfriend left to go look at Chris's lights because I wouldn't leave the live stream. That's what I'm talking about. That's dedication. But Cliff and I have the same blood going through our veins. That's family, Cliff. That's family. That's family. If Muschamp got fired, Bo Pelini can. No, Devin, it's a $6 million buyout. And you just got to eat it if you fire him. Yeah, it's a $6 million buyout. Not that easy, Devin. Not that easy. Dane's my homie. So here's the thing, all right? And I want everyone to hear me out. Put yourself in the shoes of Scott Woodward, okay? You're the athletic director at LSU, all right? The one thing your job as an athletic director is to do, all right? And I want you to hear me out because we're about to have serious discussions about Ed Orgeron here right now. And as Kane points out, it's actually $7 million. So you're Scott Woodward, right? So Scott Woodward actually got Bo Pelini to Texas A&M over LSU. And as much, I say Bo Pelini, Jimbo Fisher. So Scott Woodward got Jimbo Fisher to Texas A&M over LSU. As much fun as we've made of Jimbo Fisher, Texas A&M is recruiting better than they've ever recruited before. Their 11th ranked recruiting class in this last class has a lot of guys that I liked a lot. Okay? Texas A&M is sitting pretty good to get into the college football playoff right now. They have a better resume than Notre Dame at this very moment. Okay? Jimbo is actually a really good coach. He's a really good coach. Now, is he an all-time great? Is he Dabo level? Is he Saban level? Is he Urban level? No. But not many people are. You got to remember this. All athletic directors want to do one thing when they are at a new school. Okay? The most important thing you do as an athletic director is hire a football coach. Did anyone see this today? The Illini hired Brett Bielema. And I didn't see who the athletic director was, but he was smiling because apparently that's his first hire. So here's the thing about Scott Woodward is, you know how we always talk about recruits? We always talk about recruits are this coach's guy. So Jacoby Stevens is actually a Les Miles guy, right? He was recruited by Les Miles. So in theory, Ed Orgeron is not necessarily Scott Woodward's guy, right? I would agree with you, Cliff. The defense would have to be better. But the counter to that is you would hope that they would be better when they gave up, over 7 yards per play, which is horrible. So here's the problem. If you're Scott Woodward, you might think about moving on from Ed Orgeron. As crazy as that sounds, and here's why. I disagree with that. I don't think you can get better than Ed Orgeron outside of a few guys. When we're factoring in Ed Orgeron at LSU, it's a perfect fit. I love Coach Orgeron. He coached the greatest college football team of all time, and there's no debating that. But if you're Scott Woodward, there could be a way with the investigation that's coming up to fire Coach Orgeron with cause. And if you fire someone with cause, you don't have to pay them anything. You don't have to pay a buyout. That's what I was told. So that's the problem. You have to remember this. A head coach is forever loyal to the athletic director that hired them, because the athletic director is the one that gives them that $1 million contract. And I know Scott Woodward bonused Ed Orgeron and gave him a crazy deal to make him one of the highest paid coach in college football. But remember, that's not Scott Woodward's guy. It's not. And I understand this is uncomfortable because I love Coach O and you love Coach O. But I'm putting you, and this is why you come to this channel, I'm putting you in Scott Woodward's position. Maybe he thinks about it. Because I'm also going to tell you this. With everything that happened this year with the pandemic, if you can get away with getting someone out without paying them severance or buyout, a lot of people would do it. A lot of people would do it. But I think Scott Woodward is going to stick with that Orgeron. I think he'd be stupid not to. But I'm telling you, it drives me crazy. It really does. Here's a good example of this as well. So Auburn, a big reason why Gus Malzahn got fired is because he's not Auburn athletic director's guy, Alan Green, who, ironically, I know Alan Green. I know Alan Green pretty well, the Auburn athletic director. But he's never gotten to hire a football coach at Auburn. He's relatively new. Now, Auburn has a huge board of directors, and they're the ones that are really making the moves here. But Scott Woodward, who now knows that at Texas A&M, he hired a coach that got them to where they need to go. Texas A&M's, if everything goes according to plan, probably going to be in the college football playoff. Probably. What's up, Devin? And I agree with you, Danos. The national championship should give every coach 2, 3, 5 years' time. But this is different because of everything that's happening off the field. Let's go to Brad. But I don't want anyone to take this. Well, Carter's saying Scott Woodward's going to fire Ed Orgeron. That's not what I'm saying. I'm actually saying the opposite. That's right, Thanos, and that's why you don't fire him. The number one reason why coaches get extensions is because they go to the athletic director and say, look, we got to keep everything rolling with recruiting. And if Ed Orgeron keeps recruiting at the level that he's recruiting at, we'll figure it out. And Kane, I'll get that to you in a moment. Oh, thank you so much, babe. This is my first lime beer in a while. I wanted one after a big win. They still taste mediocre. No, these things are so good. They really are. Oh, Eric, if you're not getting dislikes, you're not doing anything right. Beer tastes weird when you haven't had it in a while. All right. Coming up on the 2-hour mark, where are you guys watching from? Jay Bird, where are you watching from? I know Eric's on the Air Force Base right now. James, where are you watching from? Thanos, where are you watching from? Britt, where are you from, man? I do not think Ohio State should make the college football playoff, but what I will tell you is Trey Sermon was not down, and they should have let him score to cover the spread. All right, so we got GA. Mo Funky figured out the super chat. Thank you for your donation. Carter, can you talk about projected defensive starters by position from the returning and incoming players? I will do that after we do the shout-outs here. Kane from the North Pole. I know it's cold as heck where you are, Kane. Ann Arbor, Michigan, where it's -2 degrees. Britt from the 337. Adam, you're from Missouri, Southwest Missouri? Lily from Baton Rouge. You live near Seguin? I just like Seguin just rolls off the tongue. Even though the traffic on Seguin Lane in Baton Rouge is so awful. Brad Lambert. Isn't that the lead singer of 98 Degrees? No. That's Nick Lachey. What am I thinking? I don't know Brad Lambert. Ponchatoula is Funky Land. Mo Funky. Britt, I can't tell you that. Because like Kane and I discussed, the feds listen in on my stream. James is still in Little Rock, man. Next time I'm up there for a show, we're hanging out, bro. The super chats have been plenty. Kirk went to the game, and you drove in traffic from the game to Metairie to Metairie. That's how you got to say. You got to say Metairie. Kirk, was it fun? Were the fans into it? What was it like getting rained on? Devin from DC? Okay. Next time I'm up there, I'm going to hit you up, man. Dakota from Port Allen, home of Daiquiri Cafe. My girlfriend loves daiquiris. I am a daiquiri guy. Peach is the best form of daiquiri. What's up, Kareem? Danny, let's go. Let's go. Thanos says he's watching from Saturn's moon Titan, of course. Metri. Finally, we have someone in here that was actually at the game. I don't know, Alan. Marshall's defensive coordinator. Bring him on, Justin, or bring him on as an analyst. Wait, what's in a suicide daiquiri? Do you know, babe? What's in a suicide daiquiri? Is that like every flavor in the daiquiri? That would have so much sugar in it. What is in a suicide daiquiri? And then I'll get to Mo Funky's question. Everything? Do they just pour? Like, is it watermelon, strawberry, banana, sour green apple? How do they do it, though? Oh, I'm guessing they have the machine and they just pour a little bit of everything in it. How does that not make you vomit? Mickey Joseph's burner account's in here. Mikey Joseph. Now, listen, Mickey, LSU's wide receiver coach, the burner account's in here. You would think Mickey Joseph would have a better burner account than Mikey Joseph. I'm kidding. Corey Raymond deserves a shot at defensive coordinator. I would have given him the opportunity to call plays against Ole Miss just to see if he's the answer. But the counter to that is Mickey Joseph's by far your best assistant position coach. And that's shown in recruiting. You notice this. I don't think many schools could have done what LSU did in recruiting. We're not talking enough about it. Remember, your brand matters in recruiting. Okay? Fruit-flavored alcohol is the best, Thanos. So your brand matters in recruiting. So, for instance, LSU lost a top 15 corner the day of signing day. Okay. Now, how many corners could have lost, or how many schools could have lost a top 15 corner just to flip another top 15 corner in the same day? Now, how was LSU able to flip Demarius McGee? Well, it's simple. If you're a cornerback, it doesn't matter where you're from. If you see LSU has 0 corners, and you know LSU is by far the best school to go to if you're a cornerback, you go. So why do all the corners flip to LSU? Why is LSU in the running for all the great corners every year? Well, it's because of Corey Raymond. He's the coach of DBU. That's true, Kane. That is true. He is. So it's the bottom line. So that's why you may not want Corey Raymond to call plays, because if you make Corey Raymond the defensive coordinator, you can't re-demote him back to defensive backs coach. It's kind of hard to do that. Now, that's essentially what they did with Steve Ensminger, but that didn't work. I know, Devin, but my point is no corner wants to go to a school that has Sting coming back and Elias Ricks coming back. But they don't mind going into that situation if they're the only corner in the class. That's why they were able to flip Demarius McGee. NFL LSU, baby. Only Bama has more NFL guys than we do. So anyway, Mo Funky, I got to answer your super chat. Your starting defense for LSU next year. So obviously, Ali Gay at one end and BJ Ojolari at the other end. Your defensive tackles next year will probably be Jaquelin Roy and Jacobian Guillory, and Mason Smith will have a chance at winning the starter's role. That's if you start a 4-3. Your 2 linebackers, well, I think you'd have to trot back out there Micah Baskerville. And that other linebacker spot, is it Damon Clark? I would guess not. I would guess the other linebacker spot's probably going to go to either Josh White or Antoine Sampa. My biggest gripe about LSU was in this game where our defense was awful, we never even got to see Devonta Lee or Josh White or anyone got to play linebacker. But, you know, for sure, Micah Baskerville is going to be one of the starting linebackers. Then at safety, we don't know what's going to happen to safety, which is kind of scary. Jacoby's gone. So you got to replace that position. Does Todd Harris decide to come back? I'd welcome him back. Does Mo Hampton decide to come back? Maybe Mo Hampton quits football altogether and he focuses on baseball because he's a phenomenal baseball prospect. Then you have Jordan Tolles, who got burned against Auburn, went through some growing pains. Jordan Tolles might be that guy. Then we have Sage Ryan, Derek Davis Jr., and as Cody points out, Bug Strong, the JUCO transfer. Maybe LSU expects him to step into the Micah Baskerville role. We'll see. Sage Ryan did indeed sign. You would know if Sage Ryan didn't sign by now. Braden, welcome. Braden, I'll get to your question in just a moment. Thanks for your super chat, man. Keep them coming. And then at corner, that's the easiest one. Elias Ricks and Derek Stingley. Then your nickel's probably going to be Sage Ryan. Day one. And Cliff brings up a good point. Why don't you try Cordell Flott at safety? It's obviously not working at corner. So Cliff might actually have a point. Cordell Flott's a good tackler. Let's see. So Mo Funky, you were the one that donated. Do you want Bug starting next year? We've never seen him play. I know nothing about him. That's a good question, Kane. So you know what's interesting? I did a deep dive on that. But first, since Braden donated, we've talked a lot about Bo Pelini, but since I'm going to put my money where the mouth is. Is that the phrase? I don't know if you've answered this yet. How is Bo looking after tonight? Not great, but LSU might be in a financial position where they have to keep him. We'll see. So we'll see what happens. And I didn't include Jay Ward in that. So actually, Sage Ryan won't start in that lineup. Jay Ward would probably be the nickel. Would I move Cordell Flott to safety? I would. I would see if it works. I don't think college coaches switch guys around enough. I just don't. Ed Orgeron's a little bit more open to it than other college coaches, but we'll see. No, Braden, hey, you could drop a super chat and ask me to rank my favorite rappers, and I'll answer it. 2 hours in, I'll answer it. Britt says, Carter deserves a shot at head coach and then give free suicide daiquiris after every win and give 2 out after every loss. Auburn's got 21 million, but LSU doesn't have 7. But, Cody, Auburn's been saving up for that. And that's to fire a head coach. That's true, Kane, but, if you're Kyler and you could be the number 1 overall pick, you go play football. Jay Ward's a beast on special teams in at corner. Who's the starting QB next season? I would say Max Johnson. I would. Bama doesn't have to worry about a thing. As long as Nick Saban's breathing, that machine's not stopping. Once again, I don't have the Bama game on the TV.
You want me to turn it on?
I mean, I don't know if I want to watch Bama beat down on someone else again. Carter and Top Billin. Top Billin. I don't think Top Billin likes me, though. Nick Saban is apparently going to retire soon. Yeah, I've heard that for 5 years. It's y'all remember? Okay, for those that for those that follow the NBA, do y'all remember the Tim Duncan's going to retire convo? Do you guys remember that? It was every freaking year. Well, Tim Duncan's probably going to retire. And what did Tim Duncan do? He still went to the finals every freaking year. We've heard that for years because everybody was hoping boring Tim Duncan was going to retire. Let me see that one. Look at that. There's me and drunk hey right there. That was some good food, though.
Oh.
What's that one? Look at that. There's Bug. And the hey.
Oh, I love that one. With me and Bagger.
Kane, he can. That's what happened to me. And it's funny, before YouTube was even a thing for either of us, he would come on my radio show a lot. And he's really good. But yeah, he's just really serious in his comment section. So he did a Jamar Chase video, and I commented how great of a receiver Jamar. Then he and I got in an argument. I never comment on anyone else's channel, ever, after that. And he just got so mad. I have a lot of respect for him. I really do. He's like me. He just started his own thing, and he's way better at this than I am. But cheers to him. I hope he continues his success. That dude can really break down a game, though. He's really smart. But that's the thing. I'm personally not that sensitive. Part of it is because once you hang out with other stand-up comedians, you can't be sensitive. You're going to get called everything. You're going to get told you're terrible. That's why I take hate mail a lot easier than what a lot of people do. That's my point, Eric. I love that guy. I really do. Murph Baldwin. He's excellent. Like I said, way better at breaking down stuff than me. But I just think he hates me because of that one thing. Jonathan, that's so funny. Saban is like Ruth Bader Ginsburg. The last day coaching will be the day he croaks. It's true. And you know what? That would be justified. I remember meeting Terry Saban, nicest lady ever. Oh, I know. He doesn't like to be called out. It's part of it. But then again, sometimes I wish I was more sensitive and more like that. But it's hard. Like I said, when I started doing stand-up, it is amazing how many veteran comedians will come up and just say how bad you are, how bad you suck. And it humbles you really quickly. Plus, my soccer coach is like that too. Yeah. So, well, I appreciate that, Eric. I appreciate that. But my viewers went down whenever I started talking about him. So that might be people racing, telling that we're talking about him. Now, that's funny, Darian. That is. But anyway, now, what would you guys like to talk about? We've covered pretty much everything. I gave you the starting defense earlier. If Mo Funky drops another $20 super chat, I'll give you the starting offense next year. Biscuit is finally here. CZ Beasley, what's up? The real ones stick around. You're right about that, Eric. Isn't that justified, though? The COVID year is the year of the Bama. My choice for defensive coordinator, you know what, James? Braden said, look, look at Braden, baby dropping a $20 bill for the offense. College football nerds are so good. They are so good. RJ Young's really good too. Oh, Braden brought you to the channel, Mo Funky? Well, I'm going straight to Braden because I like Mo Funky. So starting offense, Max Johnson at quarterback. At running back, I'm going to go Armani Goodwin. Starts day one. I'm kidding. Ty Davis Price will be your starter next year. At tight end, ooh, that's tough. Fingers crossed, Eric Gilbert at tight end. But the more likely scenario is going to be Cole Taylor at tight end, especially now that he and Max Johnson have a relationship. At wide receiver, Kayshon, Jure, and Coy. I think all three of them are the leaders in the clubhouse. I think Race McMath is gone, and obviously Terrace is gone. Trey Palmer, I'm going to be very interested what he does in the offseason. And I'm going to be interested which one of the true freshman wide receiver wins the job to get in the rotation for next year. I think Deion Smith is the best out of the 4 wide receivers. If I were to rank those 4 wide receivers, I would go Deion, then Jack Besh, then Chris Hilton, then Malik Neighbors. So we'll see. And Devin makes a good point. Maybe Eric Gilbert is better as a wide receiver. We'll see. What's up, LSU fan? I'll get to that in a moment. Answering Braden's super chat right now. And at offensive line, that's tough. Cam Wire at right tackle if Austin Deculus goes. Then at left tackle, Dale Rosenthal if he decides to stay. At left guard, that's what's scary. Is it Marlon Martinez? Probably at left guard. Liam Shanahan at center. Cross your fingers that Liam Shanahan comes back because he's been excellent the second half of the year. First half of the year, he wasn't all that good. So, and then at right guard, hopefully Anthony Bradford. But you notice LSU's offensive line is just so thin. Garrett Dellinger could come in and win one of those guard jobs. But Carvis still believes in Chasen Hines. So I think by default, you would have to say Chasen Hines is going to start at right guard next year. I would say so. I would agree, Devin. I think Liam is for sure coming back. Reggie, that's good. Those guys are super funny, too. Let's see. I don't know, Aiden. I thought John Rice was going to play a lot more, especially when Lane Kiffin tweeted about him. Would you rather choose Les Miles era or Coach O era? Well, the Les Miles era so far was better, but that was because, we had the entire Les Miles era. Got to let the Coach O era play out. Cliff, that's a good point. Cody, we already did the defense. But really quickly to recap the defense, Ojulari, Gay, Guillory, Roy, linebacker, Bug, Strong, and Baskerville, and then the defensive backfield, Jay Ward, Stingley, Ricks. Then at safety would be Mo Hampton and Tolles. So I just went through it for you. PJ, stop. PJ, stop. I want to block you for that. I want to block you. That is blasphemy. To say that Kayshon Boutte is better than Jamar Chase. Stop. Stop, stop, stop. And PJ, I like you. I do. But remember, in this game right here, the national championship game, Jamar Chase versus NFL corners, 9 catches, 221 yards, and 2 TDs. Well, Jamar never had no 300 yards. Really? Ole Miss was the worst. Ole Miss's defense was worse than LSU's defense on a points per game basis. As a freshman, yeah, Kayshon's better than Jamar. Okay, PJ, I agree with that. All right. I don't think anyone would disagree with that. Cody, don't leave, man. Cody Lacantro. Thank you for your super chat, though, man. Cody, before you go, is there anything you want me to talk about? Anything you want me to talk about? Everyone say bye to Cody for not Cody Swain. I don't like Cody Swain. Kidding. That's a good point, Jonathan. And the LSU defense was really tired. I will always defend the LSU's defense versus Ole Miss. Thanks, Cody. I appreciate you. I know, Anonymous, but Jamar Chase didn't get to play in his first year.
You okay, bud?
But still, I'm not taking anything away from Kayshon, but what Kayshon did today was not better than what Jamar did again versus Clemson. I wasn't going to block you. I'm kidding. What are you dancing for? So we're at the 2:21 mark. What are we eating for dinner tonight? What's on the plate at the Cliff household, the Anonymous household? Cody, Jonathan, what are we eating tonight? After I'm done here, I'm eating some chimichangas. I got a good Popeyes chicken sandwich before around 2-ish, so I can power through. DC Vlogs, what's up, dude? Eric said he's having beer for dinner. I like that. Well, you do it during game day. Red beans and rice cornbread. I can't eat when I'm downing Everclear. Holden, you are not eating Mama's fried chicken. Holden, you do not say that on this live stream. Burgers in the Kane household? Holden, are you just saying that to troll me? Mama's fried chicken is legendary. Mark, you can't eat caramel corn or whatever you say. Steak and Shake. Steak and Shake is overrated. It's not that great. I was very disappointed in Steak and Shake. Holden, you see, you're trolling me, Holden. Next time you drop, I will block you next time you drop one of those. Gas station chicken's good, though.
Mama, come here, buddy. Hold on.
Next year on defense, we're only allowing 12 points per game.
What?
Maybe in the Y.A. Tittle years. Oh, Mac Jones threw a pick. Ooh. I just saw that hit that Mechie put on that corner. That's nuts. PJ, you're going Arby's? I think you guys would agree with me with Arby's. If you don't get the Arby's sauce, the Arby's would be just as good in the trash. Arby's is not good unless you have the Arby's sauce. When you get the Arby's sauce, ooh. Do we get Tristan Lee? No. Jaquelin Roy is going to be elite next year, I hope.
This is how I feel.
Jonathan said he's doing drunk laundry and just found a $100 bill. You know my address. Just a daiquiri called Mexican Sweat and Hamburger Helper. Hamburger Helper sounds good right now. Marcellus, that's right, man. Rick's on one side, Stingley on the other. All right, James, what you got? Kavontre looked okay. We'll see what happens if he gets better this offseason. One thing that Kavontre needs to work on, though, is he could be a good third down back if he learns how to actually catch the football out of the backfield. Do I see Miles Brennan returning? Yeah, I do. But if he gets if he gets beaten out in the preseason, he's going to transfer. Bradford looked okay. I thought there were a few cuts that he could have made. And obviously, you're kind of hamstrung because you can't throw to him out of the backfield. I like Chris Curry. I like his attitude. I think he's deserving of the number 18 jersey. I just don't think he's that good. I just don't think so. Mick, sorry I'm late. Is Pelini gone yet? Here's the thing. If we keep getting super chats the way that we're getting them, we might be able to pay the Pelini buyout. That's a good question, Eric. Do you think Rajon Davis signs with us? And the answer to that is no. I just don't see it happening. With the slots that are remaining and some of the late offers they handed out, remember, there's only, 3 or 4 slots remaining after the Langston signing? I think it's a done deal. I think Rajon Davis is going to USC. I do. El Tapatio? Isn't that the name of the hot sauce? Exactly. I don't think Rajon Davis sees himself as a part of the class. And, USC might be a better fit for him. It might be. Stingley already confirmed he'll be injured next year. That's a really good question, Rashad. And that's the thing. We did a study on LSU's 5-star defensive tackles, okay? And every defensive tackle LSU's gotten has been from Louisiana. That's a 5-star. So every 5-star they've ever gotten at defensive tackle has been from Louisiana. And only one of them turned out to be a bust, and that was Chris Davenport. Every single one of them turned out to be a good player, okay? But this is a key thing. There's layers. You look at the 5-star defensive tackles that played at LSU, okay? So we had 2 in 2001 that came in. It was Marcus Spears and Marquise Hill. Marcus Spears is an all-time great player. Marquise Hill is a very great player. Then our next 5-star defensive tackle was Glenn Dorsey. Obviously, all-time great player. Arguably the best defensive tackle to ever play in the SEC, period. Okay? Now, the next thing was Al Woods. He was a good player, better in the NFL. Then we had Anthony Johnson. Good player, left a year too early. Then after that, we had Rashard Lawrence. Really good player. Was he an all-time great player? No. Multiple year starter. A big reason why we then won the national championship in 2019 is because of people like him that decided to come back, like Glenn Dorsey. But Rashard Lawrence wasn't Glenn Dorsey. I think we can all agree with that. Still a really good player. So the answer to the Mason Smith question, will Mason Smith be Glenn Dorsey or will he be Chris Davenport? I don't think he's Chris Davenport. But the question you should ask yourself is Mason Smith going to be Glenn Dorsey or Rashard Lawrence? I think that's the question we're going to ask because I think we can all agree that Mason Smith is going to be a very good player. But will he be an all-time great player? I don't know. You're right, Devin. He's Mason Smith, not Glenn Dorsey. I'm not comparing him to Glenn Dorsey. They're not really similar. Glenn was a little bit different. I'm just saying, I think LSU really needs him to be an all-time great player, though. I really do. I'm getting ready to purchase Danielle Hunter's rookie card. That's interesting you bring him up. I got a text from my what's up, Hokey? That's okay. I got a text from my dad. I'm looking at the Alabama-Florida game on one screen, the Canelo Alvarez fight on his iPad. I didn't know Canelo was fighting tonight. I just saw an ad on the TV. Who is Canelo fighting tonight? I like Canelo. My dad said he's in electronic heaven. There's a lot of LSU boxing fans, though. I noticed that. Shout out to all the Jamaican Tigers. Heck yeah. Cuban was just in here. Freak wasn't a bust. He was a bust compared to the ridiculous hype. Freak Johnson was just so freaking hyped. Dear Lord. I mean, they put him out to be the second coming. And he should have come back for his senior season. I think if he would have come back for his senior season, he would have turned out to be a really good player. No, isn't that not true? I thought Danielle Hunter left after his junior year. I thought he played a lot as a sophomore and a junior, didn't he? I know, Eric. And Eric, it's funny because I'm actually a big NBA guy too. Maybe I should start an NBA channel. How many of you are NBA fans? I know, Freak Johnson was a freak of nature. Tyrann Mathieu was like, what, a middle-ranked 4-star? LeBron James. White Mamba. Who's the White Mamba? You know what, Jonathan? I agree with you. And I think that's ruining the league. The players, and I'm not saying politically. I agree with a lot of stuff they say politically. The problem is the players have too much control. And unless they fix that, because basically, and I'll tie this in with college football because I did on my radio show yesterday. So I was filling in for an ESPN radio station yesterday. And part of the problem, what's up, Tony? When Brian Scalabrine retired, I was out. Yeah, so James Harden, my dad's a huge James Harden fan. I like James Harden too, the player, because he's not really all that athletic and he's still like one of the greatest scorers of all time. I have a lot of respect for that. But the problem is James Harden, the story that came out, that's a huge problem. Where James Harden decided when the Rockets would practice and when the Rockets would fly in and out of cities. That's not good when that guy's getting $40 million a year guaranteed and goes to the strip clubs every night. Carver said, I'm out on the NBA talk. I'm having chimichangas tonight. I'll see you later, Carvis. I'll go back to LSU. If you guys want to talk NBA, I'll go back to LSU. Which I will anyway, because this is not an NBA channel.
Going to bed, guys.
Bug's going to bed?
Yeah.
All right. Say goodnight to Carvis and the crew. You tell she's ready to go to sleep. And we'd say night-night to Bug. She's ready after an LSU win.
No, she's just ready because she had a tartar day.
She had a tartar day?
Yeah. Go get Mom bed. Come on.
Everyone's saying everyone's good night, Bug. Adam, Eric, Marcellus, Tony. I appreciate the love for the Bug. My motivation is my Bug. Yeah, go on ahead. Hokie, go on ahead. I'll answer your question. No, James Harden has played better defense. It's true. I do have some hot chimichangas over there, and I am getting a little hungry. So, let's see. Do I know what beatboxing is? I thought you were going to ask me an LSU question. No, I understand, Jonathan. I told my girlfriend, get Booger here now, because I get hate mail when Boog's not on the live stream. I've gotten more hate mail for the Booger stuff. Yes, Hokie, I know what beatboxing is. That is such a random question. That is a random question. I thought this was interesting. Someone Arkansas beating LSU is like Devontae Smith. Do I believe in that's a good question. Linehan, I think Russ Callaway will get promoted. And you kind of saw it today. You know, when Max Johnson got off the field, he was talking to Russ Callaway. So both of these guys, this is Odell Beckham and this is Odell Beckham too. I like Odell. I don't like what he's become, but I'll always be a fan. A chimichanga is like a burrito, but it's like fried and crisped. Did they do the sour cream sauce, baby? Did you do sour cream sauce?
I'm not even answering. Aggravates the shit out of me.
Wait, did Kayshon Boutte really share his Cash App info?
Shut your mouth.
Kayshon Boutte
All right.
texted his Cash App out.
Are you
like
be
that.
able to warm your shit up by yourself?
Yeah.
Excuse me.
I like tamales too. Brian has said nothing until I brought up chimichangas. I like that.
Brian's a good man.
Brian, you deserve a gold star. Why? Is Alabama actually going to do this?
Do people really like watching you for 2.5 hours?
You know what? I got some trash for my monobrow the other day.
And you know why?
Why?
Have I not told you?
Should I keep the monobrow?
Do you want to stay with me?
Yeah, I want to stay with you.
Okay, then you're going to lose it.
No, well, let's see if I got to lose it.
Their opinion doesn't matter.
I know, Kane.
You've got something on your face.
Let's go, Gators. Let's go.
And this is why Bernie goes to bed, because she hates football.
So Eric wants to get rid of Linehan. I would like to get rid of him because you're paying him $800,000 a year.
It's a lot of booger medicine.
My dad says there's no way chimichangas are better than tamales.
The best tamales are Doe's.
Doe's is good.
Doe's tamales are the best.
They're just good overall.
But they're tamales.
All right, guys. I am starting to wear down. I know we normally go 4 hours, but the timing of it is kind of weird because we haven't had many 2:30 games because we've kind of sucked this year. Is everybody on here from the South? Yes, Jonathan, your super chats. My girlfriend would agree, and Boog would agree, that your super chats are the reason why LSU won tonight. But no, movie, not everyone on here is from the South. We got some people watching from Ukraine. That catch was crazy, Mark. It was. I just saw it. All right, Mo Funky. We'll see you later. That's true, Mick. If I kept the monobrow. Not everybody. No, movie said he's up in Minnesota. No, we got a lot of Northerners. Kane. Jonathan's watching from the International Space Station after winning the lottery. I get it. Braden says shave it, and Braden's donated a lot of money to the channel. So
somebody's at the International Space Station?
No.
Oh.
How much for me to shave it live?
Well, I can do it right now.
Yeah, drop a $50. I'll shave it right now.
No, you won't. I will. I have a.
She's got a little tweezer thing.
No, it's called a derma blade.
A derma blade. We'll shave it right now. I'll shave my chest on here right now.
Absolutely not. Nobody wants to see that.
For $1,000, I'd do it.
No, heavens no.
If I got a $1,000 Venmo right now, it would have to be a Venmo.
Carter, come on.
You would have to shave it for me.
I wouldn't do it.
Both eyebrows for $51.
No.
I mean, 51. That's a lot of money.
You want to shave your eyebrows neck?
I mean, that's one Brooks running shoe.
Oh, Carter, come on.
That is a Joe Burrow PSA 8. Oh, Slidell boy in the heart of Bama. I couldn't imagine being neighbors with people from Slidell and then going to Alabama. You're talking about two completely different specimens. You might as well have moved to Alaska. Slidell's a different world.
Vic's from Slidell.
Exactly, and we
love our Vic.
She's the most different person on the planet.
I love my Vic. Don't hate. That's my girl.
Slidellians are a different scream, or a different person.
But are Laplace and Slidell like the same?
Laplace and Slidell are two completely different regions.
Well, I mean, she's lived in Laplace and Slidell. I mean, she was born and raised in Slidell.
Yes. So Slidell has.
Her dad owns the newspaper there in Slidell.
And then Laplace is different. Laplace is the parish.
Are they far away from each other?
Yeah. So Slidell's like, I think, east of New Orleans, and Laplace is like in the middle of Baton Rouge and New Orleans, I think. I know, Mick. And Alabama's not like that bad of a state.
Holding their own right now.
Oh, Mark, you're in Nashville? You're lucky, man. I know, Reggie. She's the best.
Go Blue Raiders.
Middle Tennessee State repping. Please, Florida, beat Bama.
Where in Nashville is he?
Down the street from Vanderbilt's campus.
Oh, okay. Ask him if he goes to Satco.
Satco? Satco in Nashville? Do you go to there, Mark? Ugh. My hair's all over the place.
And Red Door.
Tony's in Tennessee as well.
In Nash?
No.
I lived in Nash for 8 years.
I think Tony's in Murfreesboro or something like that.
Okay, Burrow. I see you.
Let's go, Florida.
I just want to know if he goes to Satco.
Braden, I hate Florida more than Bama, too. Jamestown. Where's Jamestown? Isn't that outside of Knoxville? The Bama fans can be obnoxious. Mick with the statement of the century. No, I'm kidding. Peg leg porker. You ever heard of that?
Mm-mm.
In Nashville? What is that? Is that barbecue? I'm guessing.
Oh, he's down.
Dang, movie, you got that kind of money? Drop it in the super chat. That is where Jacoby Stevens is from. And Jacoby Stevens deserves a lot of credit for his LSU career. It's a pretty impressive career considering, he had to play special teams his first 2 years before he even got his chance.
Oh, I left my white on my phone.
I don't know, Reggie. That's a good question. All right, guys. We are approaching 3 hours. That's funny, Kane. My favorite NFL team, I am a Who Dat. I don't like them as much as I love my LSU Tigers, but I do like the Saints. Oh, that's interesting, Mark. Oh, because okay. West Indian, that's interesting. And she can cook well, that's great. Who Dat all day. But yeah, before we get out of here, are there any more questions before I sign off? Because I'm starving like a Jerry curl on top of a walrus. What's up, Romeo? All right, guys. Well, if for some reason you're just hanging out a little bit later and you want to donate to the channel, you can always hit me up on Super Chat. Or you can't hit me up on Super Chat, but you can always hit me up on Venmo and Cash App at Carter the Power. Oh, I would love some West Indian food from... I'm down. We'll hit you up next time we're in Nashville. That's a good question, Reggie. I think Liam's back for sure. And then after that, I don't know. Sage Ryan would start at nickel. That would be the most comfortable position for him. But I wouldn't start him at deep safety or strong safety or corner. So it would be as a nickel. And honestly, the reason why Saban recruited him so hard is because he's looking for his next Xavier McKinney. So there you go. But guys, thank you so much. Thanks for making this live chat so much fun. When is the next live? Thank you, Braden, for that final super chat. The next live will be Tuesday night at 7 Central. Okay? Do a live stream of playoff games? Okay, so you're saying college football playoff or NFL playoffs? Yeah, Brett, I don't think anyone's disagreeing with that. Chicken parm. That'd be great. College. Okay, yeah, we'll do it. We'll do it. We'll work it out. Oh, yes, Florida with the stop on 4th and 3. I like it. All right, guys, enjoy the rest of the games, and we'll talk to you soon. It's power. LSU. Boom. Boom, boom, boom. Chimichanga night. Let's go. Let's go.